Welcome back, my little lambs. It's time for another episode of NT Sheep's Digital Wonderlands. Welcome back, my little lambs, for more Tomb Raider fun. We are in the Lost Valley. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this video out on time to come out on July 23rd like I wanted to because I ran into multiple problems, including game glitches, a corrupt saved file. So I had to sit there and do a lot of backtracking, record videos in different parts, and have to edit them all together. So things may seem a little bit janky at some parts of the video because of the editing and everything, but I finally managed to stitch together a good enough bit of video for you guys. So let's grab our snacks and drinks and let's go. One of the problems I ran into is there's a lot of precise jumping and rock climbing you have to do in this level. Back when this game originally came out in the late 90s, controllers were still fairly analog and stiff. Modern controllers are very precise, so the tiniest bit of movement can change your character's direction. And as I would be trying to jump off cliffs and stuff, sometimes just a tiny little movement on the control stick was enough to throw me off, or because the camera angle was a little hard to see, you really couldn't tell if you were lined up properly, and being off by even just the tiniest bit could lead to you falling and either hurting yourself or falling from a high enough height that it killed you. So I ran into several problems there, but because I had to keep doing it over and over and over again, eventually I started to get the hang of it and was able to start making the jumps, making it look like I've been doing this for years and was a perfect gamer. This is definitely where you're going to want to make sure you've got your jumps and everything lined up perfectly. As you're climbing around this part of the cave here, a fall may not necessarily kill you, but it's going to drop you into this water, and because of the fast current, it's going to sweep you away and take you all the way back down to the starting point, meaning you'll have to start climbing all over again. Now, I wasn't exactly trying to shoot that bridge down, it just happened because I was firing at the bats, and it may seem like you've kind of hurt yourself by doing that, but no, that's very important. If you notice down on the lower right side of the screen, there's a small hole in the wall there. So going back and climbing down the broken bridge is going to lead you to a small area where there's a very good secret, but I'll explain that later in the video. This little area we just opened is actually right below us, but because the current is flowing so fast, it's something we're going to have to come back to later. This is where things kind of got a little bit screwy and my save files got messed up, so I'm going to be showing you how to install the first two cogs, and then I'm going to be going back and showing you what we should have done after we picked up the second cog by going into that secret area I mentioned. If I would have known everything back then, would have been able to keep things smoother and maybe things wouldn't have gotten so screwed up. But thankfully, even though my save file was screwed up, it was screwed up in such a way that when I reloaded, it had me right back where I needed to be. Okay, so now that we got the second cog installed and we've got this platform above us turning, that's where the third cog is going to get installed. But to get to that, we've got to go a different direction once we get to the top of this area here. But before we do that, this is where things really got screwed up some more, and I had to start trying to reload things. I wanted to reload from the beginning of the level, but this is when I found out my save file was corrupted. But the bright side was I ended up being able to load where I needed to be to go back and get that secret I mentioned before. Okay, so right after you get the second cog, and then you unlock that gate under the water, what you want to do is get back to that bridge that you ended up shooting down, and like I said before, you're going to climb down it, and there's going to be a small hole in the side of the wall for you to jump on over to, and it leads into a small tunnel, and at the end you will find the shotgun. You've been noticing by now that we've found several cases and boxes of shotgun rounds, but we were never finding the shotgun. This is where it's hidden, and if you're not paying attention, it's kind of easy to end up missing. Going for the third cog is where I really ran into some major game problems that was forcing me to have to stop recording, then start recording again, and then taking the time to try and look online to make sure I was even going the right direction, because one of the glitches I ran into was there was a ledge that you have to jump up and hold on to and then climb through a small hole, and every time I tried going through the small hole, I kept just falling back down. And it took several minutes of me trying before I finally found out by accident that the trick is to hold down the jump or A button in my case and not press up and A at the same time. Usually it only takes about 3 or 4 shotgun blasts to take out this bear, but for some reason it seemed like they weren't either doing a lot of damage or they just weren't hitting. This area right here can really test your patience and your jumping abilities. Almost as soon as you hit these slides, you've got to be ready to sit there and jump off them, and either you're going to jump off them and miss grabbing onto the ledge that you have to get to and fall to your doom, or you're not going to hit the button in time and slide right off to your doom. We'll put this one in the BS file because I was close enough that either I should have landed on that ledge with my feet or grabbed onto it with my hands as I was falling down. It's not that the bats knocked me down. If you're really worried about it, keep shimmying along the side until you are sure you've got solid ground below your feet and you drop down. They're not going to be doing too much damage to you, and there's a med kit right there anyway. And this is where we're going to be bringing the video to an end, because the next area I'm going into is pretty famous or infamous, depending on who you talk to. The enemies that are in it are very old and very annoying. If you know what's coming up, wish me luck. If you've never played this game before and this is going to be a complete surprise to you, all I can say is go ahead and get some popcorn ready to watch me in one of the silliest battles probably of all in video game history. Thank you so much for watching, my little lambs, and I hope to see you again next time in the Digital Wonderlands.